Make a pot for your succulent using the pinch pot technique. Cactus Pots Project 1. Step 4. Joining how to add feet. In the last video, we finished by putting our pinch pot in the oven, just like this. If you're happy with a pinch pot that has no feet, no base and no other additions, then you can skip on right ahead to video number 7, which is the finishing video. If you would like, however, to learn how to add feet so that your pot stands up above the surface of the table, like so, then this is the video for you. So this is a freshly made pinch pot, and you can see that it is still very soft, like jelly in my hands. So this is a pinch pot which has not gone into the oven or dried at all. In this video, we will be working with this kind of pot. There is a more advanced video which talks about how to make additions to leather hard pots. So firstly, what you need to do is grab some paper. This is 3 squares of kitchen paper. Pop it inside your pot and turn your pot upside down, like so. Put it aside somewhere where it's going to be safe. And grab your clay pack. Unroll the clay and take your cutting line. Now, if this has some bits on it, the best way to clean the bits off is to use the big sponge. Dip it in your tub of water and squeeze the sponge right out. Shake your hand to shake off any bits. Any drops of water. Take the sponge and wipe it over the line, like so. Now I'm just going to use a few little bits of clay. These might have stuck back on when I rolled the clay back up. So I'm going to pull the wire through underneath them again to unstick them. Take them off. And roll up the clay to make sure that it keeps down if you want to make any more pinch pots or take more bits of clay for working with. Roll it up really well, and you might like to put this in another plastic bag, so it's 2 plastic bags, like a heavier plastic, or inside a Tupperware container to keep it nice and wet and malleable so you can work with it at a later time. Here are the bits of clay that I've cut off. So I'm going to make 3 feet for my pot. This is so that it doesn't wobble. Okay. So firstly, I want to have a slightly flatter base. So I'll put the pot down very carefully on my board with the canvas on it, the material here. Make sure that you're not doing this on a glass top table or a sticky surface like this, because then if you place your pot down it might stick and never come off, or be damaged when you try to pull it off. So put it down on the material and press down ever so lightly on the base, and that makes a flat bit on there. Turn it upside down again. You can see the flat bit there. And take your little bits of clay. One of these we're going to use to make a little bowl for making some slip in. Okay, slip is a kind of clay mixed with water, and it acts a little bit like glue. So here I'm just rolling it between my palms, and I'm going to stick my thumb in the middle and just pinch it a tiny bit to make a little ball like that. Okay, so set that aside for now. Okay, next I'm going to make 3 feet for my pot. So what I want is 3 little bits of clay. Any bits of clay like that can either go into your recycling or into the water. Cut through and cut again. Okay, I think that what I want is actually a small bit like this. Roll it between the palms to make a little rounder ball. Like so. Okay. I'm going to test that to see if I like the size. Okay, the size is good. So now the challenge is to make 3 of these exactly the same size. If you like, you can do this by eye, or you can use your kitchen scales. So here, if I turn on my scales, I can see that that's 11 grams. Okay, so I'll grab another bit of clay. This one's 24. So if I break that in half, that one's 14, a little bit less, 12, a little bit less, 11. Okay, put it in the palms, roll. Bit of clay, 13, take a little bit off, 12, a little bit off, 11. Put it in the palm, roll. Okay, so now I've got 3 balls of clay exactly the same size. These bits of clay, put back in the plastic to keep them damp. We can use them later. Now, you may have noticed that you're getting clay on your fingers. If you don't want to get clay all over everything, you can just use your slightly damp sponge, wipe your hands like that. And if you have your towel handy, dry off your hands there. Pop that out of the way. Okay, so now we've got a pinch pot here standing on the paper. And I'm going to decide where the feet will go. Now I like to make 3 feet so that the pot doesn't wobble. So I'm going to make 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. You see, when I'm deciding where they go, I'm making a very light mark just so that I can sort of see where they might be. Okay, don't poke a hole. Okay, next, I hope you can see the light marks that I made there. Next, we're going to be using a technique called score and slip. Now, of course, you could just push that on and you go, oh, that sticks, that's good, I'm happy with that, I'm going to stick on the next one, and so on and so forth. Now, the problem with that is that the moment the clay starts to dry, these 2 will shrink away from each other and this will pop off. So what we want to do is create a kind of glue to glue it in place. Okay, so firstly, we need to score. Scoring is when you scratch the surface up to make it a little bit rough. And what you do is very lightly with the skewer, make some lines that go in opposite directions. So one direction and then the other direction. And again, here where I've made the marks, score one direction and then the other direction. And here, again, one direction and then the other direction. Now you'll know if this has worked well, if you've done it well enough, if your feet stay in place. Okay, so now we've got the feet that are going to go there, and we need to rough up the surface on these as well. Firstly, I'll make a little shape out of them, so I'm going to make them slightly pointy, like this. I just pinch it a little bit, make a slightly pointy shape, and then push it down onto the material there, onto the breadboard, and that makes a slightly flat base. And I'm going to score this as well. So just running the tip of the skewer over it lightly in one direction, followed by running it in the opposite direction. There we go, that's one. Again, making the next one. Pinch it, make it slightly longer. Slightly pointy. Press it down and score. There we are. You can see in these videos I'm not skipping any steps, so you can just follow along and do it at the same time as me if you like. Pinch. Here we go. Pinching. Make it slightly pointy. Press it down. Score. Lines, very lightly, just scratching the surface. One direction, turn it 90 degrees, opposite direction. There we go. Now all the surfaces that are going to join are scored. The next step is to make some slip, which is the glue that will glue them together. So get the little bowl that you made earlier and dip your brush in some water and put a bit of water in there. So 3 or 4 times, dipping the brush, and start to spin the brush around and mingle the water with the clay. And it will start to create this really nice creamy clay. This is called slip. Okay. When you have enough to be able to gather up a brushful like that, take one of your little feet and kind of like wipe the brush on the foot so that the slip comes off. And you need quite a lot, so I'm wiping the brush on it and piling it on until it's like really nice creamy icing on some carrot cake. Go, lots of icing, like so. Okay, quite a lot on there. Okay, now let's put this down and take your pinch pot, and here we are. We're going to press this down onto one of the areas that we've scored, and as you see, as I'm pressing it down, all the slip that I've made is gushing out the sides. Now don't press down too hard because you don't want this to distort, but if you hold, see I'm holding the paper there just to make sure that it keeps its shape and doesn't push in too much. And here we're going to do the second one. So firstly we need lots of slip, put water in and start twirling around like so till we gather it up. So we've got lots and lots on the brush, and take it from the brush onto the scored surface. Need more water. There we go. Put lots on. Okay. And holding the paper underneath, push on, but very gently. So just make sure that the slip gushes out the sides, like so. Okay, you need to be able to see some coming out all the sides to make sure it's really well glued in place. And then the third one. So again, repeating, water in and swirl it round and around until you get a good amount of slip formed in there. Gather it up with the brush, put some on the foot. Okay, just let it slide off the brush so that you're not destroying the cross-thatching that you put in earlier. Go. Like so. Put it on. So there's a lot on there. Thick creamy icing. Pick up your pinch pot, hold the paper from underneath and press down lightly, just holding the foot by the end there. Okay, so now just squeezing the ends a little bit, making them slightly pointier. Now I'm going to remove the excess slip. So all this stuff that has come out the sides, I'm going to kind of try and push it into the crack. I get my brush, the damp sponge, and wipe the brush clean. Okay, sponge. Now, removing the slip, wipe it into the crack, into the join. Here I'm pressing down a little bit harder. Wipe it around, dry your brush off, wipe around some more. There we go. Making sure that it's gone all the way under into the join. And again on the other one, removing the excess slip and wiping off the brush as I go. Okay, until almost all of the shiny slip has gone. And you see, I'm putting it into the join, wiping it away. Okay, so now I can test if this is going to stand up straight. Put it down on the table, on canvas. Take a seat, have a look. Okay, here, this one is a little bit shorter, so I'm just going to pinch it a bit, make it a bit longer. There, maybe a little bit more. Be very careful not to pull it off, just pinch it so it becomes a little bit longer, like so. Okay, now that's standing straight. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And what I'm going to do now with this one is pop this in the oven. So just the same as in the last video, grab your baking tray. Some baking paper, pop it in the oven at 50 degrees, 50, warm oven, just at the lowest setting, and for 15 minutes. That's 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, take it out of the oven, remove the paper, and turn it the right way up, and then put it in for another 5 minutes. Now, ovens do vary, and sometimes it might be ready earlier, so you could check it after 10 minutes, and in a couple of videos I will show you how to know whether your pot is ready for the next stage. So that is step 6. Okay, so in the next video I'm going to show you how to make additions. So if you would like feet plus something else, or no feet and something attached to the sides, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, see you then. Bye.